Welcome to That's Davis Show. I am your host, Kenneth Davis. Follow me at That's Davis. Also, of course, the executive producer of this show, That's Davis, and also Flipping Friends, Ryan Bookovetsky. Follow him at Ryan B. Ski and Ryan B. Ski 1 on Instagram, even though he underutilizes both.
Yeah.
He really needs to step his game up. I'm not even a social media person, and he's younger than me. And I'm more active than he is.
I put people to shame in that case.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, dude. I mean, just say hi occasionally. I mean, you could just post show stuff. I mean, just to have interaction or whatever.
I have this mental barrier just even opening them.
I felt you. I didn't get into social media until perhaps maybe this is my 5th year. I was hesitant. Like, even though I opened up a Facebook account, I never used it for like 4 years. I just opened it up to apply for something, right? I never used that. And then when I got on Twitter first, I started using Facebook some, and it's cool because it allows me to interact with my family members and some of like my friends from when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, some of it is just the banter and just people and their own ideals is just a bit much, but you can say that on all social media platforms. And I think I love Twitter more, but Instagram is more appealing at times. But, I don't even mean just from oogling over beautiful women. I mean just from
get your mind out of the gutter.
No, it's just more to do. You know what I'm saying? Just as far as like entertainment. Yeah, it's just more that it's easier.
And videos, wow,
exactly.
Factor. Oh.
And I try to explain to people they should get on Twitter just for information and stuff. And they're kind of like, nah, I'm like, you would like it. But when it comes to what you can do on Instagram, just even like being a lover of hip hop and seeing those old interviews, it's a lot more accessible. Not to say you couldn't do it on Twitter, but it's built for a platform like Instagram.
Yeah, the searching is much better on Instagram. You kind of can figure out what you want right away.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Ryan, let's go off top. Take it from the top, the tippy. I got to use that. I got to use a little bit of Redman and Method Man because they put up one of the best verses, which was basically a concert of theirs since they are a duo, even though one's a part of a crew and one's a part of a group. Of course, with Def Squad and of course with Wu-Tang. But I want to get back to something. I'm sure you've seen some of the clips from this past Flipping Friends or Flip, because anytime D is with us, I go back to calling it the original show, the Flip. And we had a nice engagement, but I still had to just say I can believe that the Lox beat Dipset, but I can't believe that Dipset was that terrible and brought that whack ass performance to Madison Square Garden. The disrespect. All right, from what the Lox did to them, but how they disrespected their own selves was it was disgusting. You know what I'm saying, to say the least. It was disgusting. And also, when I was talking about you, Ryan did an excellent job of snatching out that part of me talking about Biggie and Jada kissing Sheik Luch, and you titled it to Sheik Luch or not Sheik Luch, which was classic, right? Sean Davis, friend of the show, producer of the ESPN 1000 here in Chicago. I heard him this past week with Waddle and Sylvie. Shout out to Sean. He hit me in DM and was like, "Yeah, that's true. Biggie wrote." I knew Biggie wrote a large majority of Goodfellas. Was it Goodfellas or No Way Out? It was because it was going to be called Goodfellas, but No Way Out, which is basically Puff's intro album. So then that's why Jada, because he was saying wrote those parts because Biggie was done. But also something I didn't know. He said that All About the Benjamins, Biggie wanted that on Life After Death, but Puffy snatched it up. To think about a classic album like Life After Death and what it would have been if it had All About the Benjamins on it, damn you, Puff. All right, damn you. We needed that. We needed that. That would have. I love Life After Death to pieces, but if you would have dropped that, and probably would have been on the second one. The second one was darker. Just to break that up, maybe not. He made it put it on more money, more problems on the first one towards the bottom of the disc. But I just wanted to just talk about that again. I know some people don't like verses. I enjoy it. I enjoy the witty banter and disrespect, and also just to see great performers rise to the occasion, and also kind of show performers of their age and that are younger how you're really supposed to give it to the crowd for what they come to see and what they pay for. So shout out again to the Lox. Shout out to Jada. If you didn't respect Jada, you definitely respect him now. One of the best to ever do it when it comes to bars and lyrics and jokes. in general. So definitely shout out to the Locks, and Sheik Luch is still not AMC. All right.
That Sheik clip, I kept watching that on a loop. That was so funny to me.
To Sheik
It
Luch.
was so great.
When I saw it to Sheik Luch or not Sheik, no, to Sheik or not to Sheik, I said, "Oh, that was." This is definitely going to be it. Just that right there. So that was great, Ryan. And then I would say a lighter note, but that was a lighter note. But something that I saw last night, I did watch. And it's not just that I watched. I turned to it, but I also forgot that I record every Bulls game. Because when I went to go set up my recordings of other Summer League Bulls games, and I was like, oh, it's already set. Because I couldn't find it. I was like, oh, it's set. I forgot. I record every Bulls game. I just don't watch them because they haven't been worth me viewing them with regularity. I did peer in to watch the Bulls, or I should say Ayu and Patrick Williams. All right. And Patrick Williams in the first half of last night's game. Also, let me give you the backstory to what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him score more, handle the ball more, be a facilitator. This is what was reported, I believe, from Jamil Collier in the Tribune. And they just want him to be the man. And you also saw him being a leader. All right, he looks slimmer. He says his core is tighter. His bounce was nice. It's still just the cohesiveness of what's going on with P. Will. He seems he's a gentleman that's going to put in the work. He gave a lot of props to the Bulls training staff with everything they did. He only took a week off and went right back into it. So again, shout out to Patrick Williams. He looked real good. He's just going to have to keep doing it to where it becomes more natural. His instincts. Fundamentally, he is a sound individual. To be 19 years old, he is so fundamentally sound. You see why Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley decided to pick him at number 4 last year. Nice bounce, of course, handles, of course, his shot form looks nice. Just everything about him looks nice, but he just needs to work on the
finer things.
The finer things, but it needs to become innate, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It needs to become innate in him where, okay, I got Nate right here. I'm diving off this pick and roll. I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that when you can see, all right, how the player's about to shift on that pick and roll, and if you're going to have a lane or if you need to give the ball up. You know, just little stuff like that he needs to work on. And when that becomes second nature, you're going to really have you a nice tool when it comes to the P. Will being the youngest Bull and growing with these somewhat slightly older players and older players. You're going to have he could be a very nice tool moving forward defensively and offensively, and particularly because you're not asking a ton from him. All you're really going to ask from him next year is to either defend the best wing player or best power forward, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty much what you're going to be asking them. You know, maybe you're asking to defend the center depending on who the center is. But that's what you're going to be. And then when he has an open shot, knock it down. If he can attack. You're not going to just thrust a ton on him because you shouldn't. You have all these players around him. You know what I'm saying? That everything's on them. They're getting paid more. They're more seasoned. I'm not saying bring him along slowly, but there shouldn't be a heavy burden. But I'll say this. He puts a lot on himself. So he's self-motivated. So you really don't have to you get the sense you don't have to worry about this young man working to his potential. You know what I'm saying? So we'll definitely see, but it was definitely nice to see, especially since he didn't have a summer league last year. What were you about to say?
What's your scale 1 to 10, 10 being the best, optimism for superstardom for him right now?
That's a lot. Superstardom?
Well, living up to the 4th pick in the draft. How about that?
If you say star, I could say...
How about where we don't feel a bust from his 4th pick in the draft?
A 9.
And I mean, not bust
because
we kind of traditionally bust, but living up to the 4th pick.
I think the thing where you could only feel that it was a bust is if someone like Halliburton, Killian Hayes, some of those players drafted after him really snap. You know what I'm saying? Then you could kind of feel like, damn, you missed out on one. If they have good careers and he still was picked behind Wiseman, Edwards, and Ball, and you look at what Edwards and Ball are doing already, you're not going to view him as a bust because that's you can only draft who's there. You know what I'm saying? So the cream the cream that we perceive so far was already gone. Now, if there's cream behind him, then you can start to question, you know what I'm saying, why they selected this young man. You know what I'm saying? Particularly if they needed a point guard. And I mean, we've known, and I know we're going to get into the Bulls tampering situation. We've known from the past regime and this regime, they both had interest in Lonzo Ball, who was signed to the Bulls this past week.
But you feel optimistic about his ability to be, I don't know, the face of the franchise at some point?
Maybe. I gotta see. He has dog in him, but I mean dog on offense. I think he naturally has dog on defense. He just has to get used to just being in the league. You know what I'm saying? The speed, the players, the weight, the body size. I think he just has to adjust to that, and I think we'll see a leap with that this year. Offensively, I just think there's a natural knack in between. So what I'm saying, like, he can shoot. He can, especially for his size, he can shoot. He can dribble. His passing is good. It can even improve. But the in between to make all of those just function seamlessly. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Missing. So if he can get that, then perhaps he can be the face of this team. If not, he can be the second best player on a good team. And I'll be fine if he's the second best player on a future Bulls team or whatever. Sure. If he can reach, I wouldn't look at him as. I don't look at him as a bust. I didn't look at him as a bust once I watched tape on him when we found out a couple days before that he was going to be the pick. Just watching tape on him, I was like, damn, this kid can shoot, this kid can dribble, this kid can defend, this kid can jump. You know, and I mean, when you looked at, they were picking 4. Now, if they were picking perhaps 2, we would have a different discussion here. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But they weren't. So you got to go with, it's just like you got to play who's in front of you. You have to pick who's in front of you. Now, if you still missed out on value behind that player, then there's a questions to be asked when it comes to the front office.
And I totally agree with that. I like him. He's got that man's body already too at 19. Like, you don't have to worry about that.
He is fit. You could tell he's slimmer than what he was, and it wasn't like he came in fat. He was out of breath in the second half. But I mean, he hasn't been playing like that. Also, he hasn't been playing where he was the man either. You know what I'm saying? But he was winded.
And that takes it out of you.
Yeah, he was winded because you're talking about full on defense offense, where a lot of times you're asking him to definitely play the best perimeter player, but on offensively, you're not asking him like carry us. You were asking him to carry you last night or to show you if he can carry you. So he was winded, but again, he hasn't been used in that to that degree. And also, it's been a break since the last time he's been playing 5-on-5 for an extended amount of time.
And now we go to the tampering.
Tampering! Your hand in the cookie jar. Get your hand out of that cookie jar.
Was it that?
We'll discuss it. So the Chicago Bulls and the New Orleans Pelicans, along with the Toronto Raptors and the Miami Heat, have been accused, or the NBA is investigating perhaps if they were tampering, and if deals had been come together, or deals had been made prior to the non-tampering time frame in the NBA, and they've been cracking down on it. You already know that they've raised the fine to $10 million. You can suspend executives. You can take away draft picks. I'll say this. If they did it and they got caught, what the hell are you doing? All right. What the heck? Because he was coming here. All right. We knew that. If the deal was in the bag, you could have waited before you announced it to not announce it straight out when the free agency signing was okay. All right. You could have hesitated and waited to that evening to officially announce, because we had heard for days he was coming, but to officially announce. But I did see Woj on ESPN, Adrian Wojnarowski, and he had pointed out that both of these teams may not really get dinged. And that's because the Bulls and the Pelicans at the trade deadline had already built in frameworks about making a trade for Lonzo Ball. And the same goes for the Raptors and the Miami when it comes to Kyle Lowry. Because you remember at the trade deadline, the rumor was Kyle Lowry was going to get traded. Two of the teams was the Lakers or perhaps the Heat. The Heat were a big team that people expected Kyle Lowry to get traded from. Damn, my hand hurts from me smacking it like that. Don't tamper. So hopefully, I mean, I don't care what happens to the Heat. All right, let me lead with that. If they get dinged, especially Pat Riley snitched on the Bucks last year in hopes of trying to get Giannis. Right, he snitched on the Radmanovich deal.
Did he throw the rings before the snitching call out?
Oh yeah, he drops him on the call. He's like, you don't know who this is, but I'm telling you something in the front is going on. Then he drops the clink, 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 bye. Click.
I feel like he has the burner, like, I'm going to send you the link. And it goes on YouTube just to make sure. Make sure everyone sees the gold fall. See these rings?
Both these teams may not get dinged, or if they get dinged, it may not be as severe due to the fact that there was already framework that was built in from the trades that were discussed around the trade deadline. So hopefully that's going to take place. I don't get the sense, and I could be wrong, that the Bulls are that fearful, because I think if they were, we would hear about this deal being reneged, like the Radmanovich situation, where it was like basically what just from an outside looking in, basically last summer, that if after the sign and trade that was proposed from the Kings to the Bucks, if he did go along with it, and I guess he said the team didn't tell him or whatever, but if he went along with it, the NBA probably would have invalidated it. And if they invalidated it, it would have been probably after most of the money was gone from free agency. So instead of him going to the Bucks, waiting to see if the NBA was going to invalidate that deal, and then all of the free agency money gone, and he's going to end up like Dennis Schroeder, who signed a one year, I think it's like $5 million deal with the Celtics when the Lakers were going to give him $84 million. And I still didn't know what the hell he was smoking. All right. And I didn't know what the Lakers were smoking because I didn't think he's the type of player that you can say me, him, and Anthony Davis, and of course an allotment of everything else, but he would have been what Westbrook is supposed to be, basically, as far as the star or the talent that you need. And I didn't think he was enough. I think they're better with Westbrook than they are with Schroeder. And I'm not saying with Westbrook they're going to win a title. But still, the fact that these teams are probably, I feel like, not going to get dinged because there was framework already. So this wasn't a situation where it was like, we never heard anything about this. You guys weren't necessarily going to do this. But I was also going to say this, get back to what I said, because I lost my train of thought. I think we would hear the Bulls are fearful that they're going to invalidate the Ball deal more often here in the city if that was going to necessarily take place. I could be wrong, but I think I could be wrong, but that's why I don't think it's going to be as severe as them reneging the contract that the Bulls have with Lonzo Ball or the trade.
Yeah, I was going to bring up exactly the Woj thing that you said. Yeah, just hopefully it's not draft picks. I mean, if it's got to be money, whatever. Like, okay, it's stupid. They should get a lashing, but it's just money. Nobody cares about money in sports, especially if the owner just has to pay it out of his pocket. If it's draft picks, though, that's when you're like, oh boy, are we ever going to see a first rounder again?
No. We got Laurie. Listen, I wonder this too. Now, is it my draft picks you can take, or is it draft picks that I've traded for? Because if it's mine, I don't know if you can find any second rounders in there, but go ahead.
Right.
But if we're going to get a first rounder for Laurie, hands off. All right. We need
that. Might be waiting. They might be waiting on the trade for Laurie.
Hold on, slow down.
Make it official when the 2026 first rounder is gone, and then we'll take this 2022.
Exactly. What do you think about the Laurie situation?
I mean, I definitely want to see what they could get for him. I'm not a big believer in Laurie being here. I don't think he fits with what they have. But at the same time, too, he might be a really valuable asset on the second unit, potentially. I don't know if you can put him there, because I don't see him part of the starting five whatsoever.
Hell no. How? Dude, he is not, unless Patrick Williams is hurt. And I'm not even saying that as far as...
Even if he is, maybe it'd be better to get somebody else in there and just keep Laurie as the second unit,
Maybe, but defensively is the reason why I'm saying
yes.
You can't have Vooch, who's a below average defender, Laurie, who's a below average defender, DeMar DeRozan, who's a below average defender, Zach, who's a below average defender, then Lonzo, who's good straight. Right. You know what I'm saying? You really need three, but you at least need two real dogs when it comes to some defense.
But even if, let's say, Zach makes a huge improvement, it's just on the perimeter. It's just on the perimeter.
Okay.
I'm just saying, let's pretend
It's
only on the perimeter. You have nothing down low when it comes to defense with Laurie in there.
And there's no rim protection when you're talking about Vooch. So you need P. Will to be starting to at least attempt to block somebody driving into the lane. No, I mean, I don't care if Laurie stays. Let me lead with that. If he stays and he's going to be a reserve player, because you got to fill in some slots.
Especially if it's that qualifying offer, then go for it.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. I saw a little bit of the I'm gonna butcher this kid's name, Sedmanovich. The kid that they drafted last year that came over.
Yeah.
All right. Handle to be 7 foot, handle straight. All right, handle is straight. I'm gonna give Shorty that right now. Handle is straight. Can't jump for nothing, but he's long. And not a bad little prospect to see what you got. Not saying he's gonna be anybody, but he's a decent body later on in the game, depending on if you're losing or whatever that you throw out there, so he can learn. But not a bad little project that they have in him. I'll say that much from watching him being that tall and being able to take somebody off the dribble.
Has he got the shooting? The shooting's there.
Didn't see a ton of it, but that was in his highlights. Watching all his highlights, that's all I saw. It was all three, and I was like, "Damn, Shorty, can you do something?" And he's good with the pump, fake, and drive. Right? That's
okay.
He's good. I mean, you're doing it to another 7-footer. It's simple. So
I mean, it's funny we're talking about Laurie. His rookie year, that was the thing: shoot the three and get to the lane.
He not Laurie. Not rookie Laurie. Let me say that he's not rookie year Laurie. All right, but I'll say this: I don't remember how I felt watching Laurie in summer league. That year, and I know I'd watched him, but I don't remember how I felt. I remember like a month in or so being like, damn, I like this Laurie dude, right? Like it's nothing like rookie year Laurie, right? It's like it's like March, and I guess Laurie's done this. It's like March, Noach. What was the dude that got his face broken?
I was gonna say Mortich, right?
Yeah, more. It's like March that March that he had, right? Yes, it was like
I was gonna say that was his rookie year, right? Miritich.
It's like Miritich. Look at how we just forgot. It's what happens when you get your face broke.
Come on,
listen,
that was like get the hell out of here.
If I was Miritich right now, I would fly to Milwaukee. I would come on an uncharted plane. I would find out if wherever. Hopefully, of course, Bobby Portis is in town. I'll find out wherever he is. I will hide in the dark shadows of an alley, and hopefully, as he cross paths, and I will whack him upside the head. Hopefully, not something to kill him, but definitely something to knock his ass out, just to get my vengeance for breaking my face. I can listen. I don't know. My face hasn't been broken because when a man break your face, you may be like, I need to leave him alone.
Yeah,
that man.
And Bobby Portis might be that guy. That
man doesn't play. All right.
Well, we know who Miritich was rooting for in the NBA Finals.
Oh, for sure. Oh, man.
Renowned Suns fan, Miritich.
Sons of 4. He had that up on his wall. Sons of 4.
Sons of bitches. Come on. Put it down.
Oh, man. All right. So switching over. We know that training camp is in the second week for the beloved Bears. They're going to be practicing and going up in their first preseason game against the Miami Dolphins. Matt Nagy has talked about having conversations with Coach Flores as far as when it comes to practicing and what they're going to do so they can kind of set it up and be simpatico. You don't want to get Justin Fields hurt if they're going to play their defensive starters longer, and you got this offensive line that is woeful. I mean, so think about what the second string line is going to look like, because you got second string guys that's going to have to play in the first string. But you know what? It'll be interesting. His Bears are hurt right now. It's early. You can be a tad bit worried. Eddie Jackson is coming back. But I don't know if he practiced today, but I know he came off of the non-football injuries list.
The shells, the light walk-through practice.
Yeah. But a lot of guys, you still listen. We don't know what's going on with Eddie Goldman, and this COVID.
Neither do they, by the way.
Which is like, and I know some people on Twitter have been like, "Man, relax on Eddie Goldman." Then this is why I was worried. And I'm not saying I could definitely be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, but something just didn't feel right regardless of if this is this individual's character or this is necessarily how he handles business. When Danny Trevathan said, that he's hard to get in contact with, still, like you gotta contact your JOB and let them know something, right? I mean, it just seemed to me
they would call him occasionally.
Well, he has to. I think they call him, Ryan. I don't think he answers the call.
I don't know. Just so weird how they're responding. Like, yeah, we don't know. Whatever.
They don't want to. They don't want to burn a bridge. I think they're trying to make it so he
on like
back.
eggshells.
Yeah, they don't want to burn that bridge because I think Eddie Goldman's thought about retirement, and that's just the truth. He may be a young man.
Brad Biggs, I think, reported that from the Tribune.
But I mean, I've been saying this for months. Not to say that I don't remember when Brad Biggs reported, and Brad Biggs has way more information than I have. So let me leave with that. It didn't never seem right when just to have you talk to him. Yeah, we saw him. He didn't show up for OTAs. Nagy told us at the mandatory minicamp that he did not have an excuse leave, and that right there was even more like, oh, dude may not want to come back. Like, and my thought then was, is it a Bears issue or just an NFL issue? And on top of that, COVID. You know what I'm saying? And I asked Nagy that as far as, is it just COVID, the problem with Eddie Goldman? And he said, yes, it's a COVID issue. And I'm not saying maybe COVID's on top of it, but due to COVID, he's kind of done. You know what I'm saying?
And to be fair, it's rising everywhere.
Right? Yeah, no. If it is, and he's walking away from his money, because he got a stipend last year of, I think it was like $360,000, and I think he would have made between $3 and $4 million at least.
Right.
So about the cut that he took and willing to take, and the cut that he's willing to leave if he retires. You know what I'm saying? So if he's willing,
different cap.
Yeah, if he's willing to do that for his health, for himself and perhaps his family, I commend him. I don't want him to. I want him to be the nose tackle of my team. But you got to let somebody live their life. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But Kyrie's tongue is getting a lot of the snaps. I heard Bernstein going off on it on the score. I haven't heard enough people talk about it, which I found odd, to be honest with you, because to me, it's something that's just, it's kind of bothered me for months.
Do you think, like, I have no idea, I'm not a capologist or no, but if he ends up retiring, don't you kind of like think with the Bears, like, man, maybe we didn't have to cut Kyle Fuller? That's
a great point. Or listen, I hate to say it, especially in this situation, maybe you didn't have to cut Charles Leno Jr.
Right.
Like there's a couple of cats, that you could have maybe held on to rather than this long dance with this nose tackle, right? He put a little toe in and then he snatched it back. You put the little leg out and he snatched it back. And it's like, dude, we need to know what's up because we're trying to get out here. We're trying to win. And also people are counting on you. And now, when I say people are counting on you, I still honor your right to do what you want to do, but you need to give them a heads up on what you're going to do.
Because it could have major ramifications potentially.
Right. You got to let us know if you're in or out. Even if you're out and then want to come back, we can discuss that later, but you need to let us know you're out. And I mean, from what he said, as far as soon as he decided to opt out and the football started, he felt that he shouldn't have opted out. I mean, are you being for real? I mean, he can feel like that, but still, I'm wrong. He can feel that way. I want to play, but I don't know if the risk is worth me playing, So he can, when he said, I felt like I made a mistake, he can feel like he made a mistake, but still know that mistake is probably best for him. I believe he has asthma, I think, too, like a severe case of asthma. I could be wrong. But best case for him and or any of his family members that may be immune compromised, So I want the best for him. I would love if he was playing nose. Hopefully he will play nose. Hopefully he's fully committed. We're living in some different times right now, and you gotta listen and have empathy for what people are going through. I know some people are like, man, forget empathy. Man, nah, dude. Life is too serious and too hard to be mad at people making decisions about something that does not affect life or death consequences. It's just the truth.
People in their football, though, they love to go insane about it.
You should. If you're that crazy about it, you probably need to find something else. Still love football, but find something else to distract you. Or play fantasy. Fantasy lets you know that you don't need to be as in love with these players. You separate themselves depending on if they're on your fantasy team.
With what you just said, something to distract you. Do you think that's coincidental? The Justin Fields reports he's looking great, great, great as the injury list looks bad, bad, bad.
That's
Kind
a
of
good
like
one.
keep an eye on this over here and not this over there.
Hey, pay attention to this hand. Don't
Yeah,
look at anything that's going on over there,
exactly.
right? I didn't think about that. That's a good one. That's a really, I mean, these people are PR masters. We live here in Chicago. We know someone will get cut, and then the story will come out about the type of bastard you were 10 seconds later. And all the time before they told us that you was a saint of virtue, right?
Right.
So we've seen stuff like that all of the time. I think that's pretty clever with you pointing that out. I think part of it is just playing better, but I'm with you. They don't want negative PR right now, especially after lucking up on the type of PR that they lucked up on, because that was close to 2018 PR right there. As far as man, we're going to the Super Bowl in 2019, like that turned, and it was funny. That turned such a terrible summer after the closing interviews to the year. And then after the draft, it flipped it 180. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to go all the way back there or even get halfway there. So yeah, but Bears are one of the teams that plays things really close to the vest anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you remember how when John Fox was here, how he battened down the hatches, and the hatches haven't opened back up since he was here. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to finding out certain things and media accessibility and stuff like that.
For sure. And, I definitely think Justin is progressing. Like, I feel great about him overall as a prospect. We've talked about it since day one. Like, they nailed it. That was the guy they should have taken in the first round. Kudos to them. Paid a lot for it, but it was a very wise gamble, in my opinion.
I don't think it was a lot. I don't think switching ones and giving up another one is a lot for the second best player and second best quarterback in the draft. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that later, because somebody somewhere playing with the Jets like poo. And that's of course Zach Wilson, who we've opined for through last year. Yeah, we're gonna get to that a little later when we do our division previews with the NFC East and the AFC East. With
the Bears, though, I mean, do you think it's setting up at all? I don't want to go crazy with this, and because I think Andy Dalton is the starter. But if Justin Fields is progressing, if he's going to get a lot more preseason reps, can this flip it all?
No, and it shouldn't. If the offensive line is going to be bad, do not throw Justin Fields out there to die. Some people are like, well, he can run. Yeah, but not for his life.
Yeah,
I want
really don't want that.
Yeah, I want his running to be an added advantage to what he can do in the pocket. Not he has to run because the line cannot protect him. No. This is not, we do not have to break glass, grab Justin. All right. Leave him in there. Get this line straight. Before Justin Fields plays real heavy NFL minutes, this line needs to be straight. Of course, he should have packages every week. All right. At least 2. But this line before he is the starter needs to be in order. Even if it's not to 100% of what we expect we were going to get this year. And that's with Tevin Jenkins being a rookie moving over to left. You at least need it around 75% before you put Justin Fields in a situation that can get him hurt. No, he still talks about the Clemson hit, and that was running. So think of it. He thinks when he's running about how he got hit playing against Clemson, think about how he's going to be in his head if he's getting knocked down just sitting in the pocket. No. You do not want him to get the yips. And I think this young man is very strong mentally. So I don't think he's easily to crack, but still there's no reason to put him through that type of fire. No, let him sit. All right. Not to say don't put him out there. But if this is the line that Nick Foles was just throwing whatever last year, don't put Justin Fields in this mess. He don't deserve that. He is for the future. All right. We're talking about 15 years. So one isn't as important. You know what I'm saying? This little rookie year is as important as the next 14 years. Now, some people say, yeah, but he needs the reps to get going. So in year 2, listen, if he is still learning, which he still will be, but still learning some of the things from year 1, due to the fact that the offensive line was so porous that you couldn't commit to fully having him out there, I'm fine with that. You do not want to get this kid messed up with how bad this line is playing. It needs to at least be at 70-75%, I would have to say.
What about just in general? What you want to see from him or the team this Saturday, first preseason game?
I want to see that defensive. I want to see Robert Quinn do something, but they only be out there 2 series. But
I
I
don't
want to
even
see
know
that.
if he will play with how
Good
they
point.
manage injuries.
He probably won't play. I want to see pressure from the defense. But on the offense, I just want to see them move the ball, regardless of who's in there. I want to see them running, regardless who's behind
Yes.
the quarterback. Yes. A commitment to running. I want to see the commitment to running leading to play action. I want to see rhythm. Now, that may be hard in preseason to a certain degree with the lineups changing and bringing in different strings to get the rhythm that we want to see Matt Nagy kind of call plays with. I'll give him a little bit of give with, but you still can get it. You may just take you a second after you bring in that strain to feel the rhythm with how you need to play, depending on the strengths of the players on the second and third string. But that's what I want to see. I want to see not a lot of David Montgomery because I don't want to see him get hurt out there.
Right.
But I want to see Herbert. I want to see Damian Williams. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I want to see a little bit of Darnell Mooney. I want to see I doubt Daz Newsome. I don't know
how about a Riley Ridley, Javon Wims sighting?
I hate to say it. I've damn near giving up on that.
I have too, but I guess now is never, right?
Right. I don't think Daz Newsome. I don't know if they're going to put him out there. I want to see Graham Jr. though. All right. Yeah. If he's going to be in the nickel, I want to see who's nickel. I want to see who's getting a lot of those nickel reps and how well they're playing in the nickel. You know, so also, I mean, it's going to be short with the starters out. So depending on who plays on the opposite side of Jalen Johnson, and plus, I mean, they're not going to try to reveal a lot. But I mean, and we're going to talk about it later when we do the AFC East. I mean, you know, and then he's only going to be. I don't know how long they're going to play Tua, but it's going to be questionable, to say the least. And I'm Roll Tide, but I'm always kind of been like,
oh man.
When it comes
I think
to that,
I wonder if the Dolphins are going to look at Justin Fields and be like, "Damn, we should have got this
dude." I mean, I know that. Listen, I'll tell you this. I know they're happy they didn't make one trade that was out there that they could have made because of the draft picks they had and the fact that Tua's potential still can be attractive. I know they're happy they didn't make one trade because there would be a bad situation PR-wise for them to be in, and they'd be stuck in that situation. So you right with that, you're better off with Tua. All right.
Yeah.
You don't want that Houston, that Houston drama. You're better off with Tua, to say the least.
They went with the receiver though. They could have had some guy named Justin Fields.
They could have, you know, but I mean, you said you were committed to Tua Tagovailoa. So we'll see if Tua can do it. When I just see highlights of Tua. See, I used to tell Tony this. Tua had spin, but really didn't have an arm. Right. So it's times when I see Tua and it's just like it's like what's the kid down there? Bryce Young. Like Bryce Young doesn't really have a cannon. Like when I see highlights of Bryce Young, I'm like, listen, that's cool. I hope you can bring us some more national titles to Alabama. But in the pros, there can be arm growth in the pros as far as strength. I see Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Look at Tom Brady's arm in Michigan compared to what his arm was. True. To where his arm was like his 6th season in the NFL. Tom Brady at one point in his career had one of the nicest deep balls in the NFL. Period.
Had
it was
up
there.
Ball.
Yeah. So you can gain arm strength in the pros. You know what I'm saying? Even look at how, and it was because of Jeff Tepford, how he had them throwing the ball at Cal. But look, like you didn't know coming out of Cal that Aaron Rodgers had that cannon. Like until you saw it in preseason, you was like, hold up. Shawty got a cannon, right? Like you didn't know he had a cannon like that. You didn't know he had a cannon like that coming out of Cal. So that's just, you know, we'll definitely see, and it'll be interesting since we'll get an up close and personal chance. I can't wait to hear Chicago reporters talk about what Tua looks like in practice. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they're going to murder him if he sucks. And this is going to be interesting to hear, like, he comes up here just stinking the place up, and you wish you had Fitzmagic just so this team that's ready to go as we dive deep into Dolphins chatter. I guess we should just
go. More Fitzpatrick chatter coming up later on, too.
Right, coming up later on. But let's start off with the NFC East. You want to start with the NFC East as far as we go division?
Whichever you'd like.
Let's do the NFC, since the NFC East isn't the better division. I want to say the best for last, like Vanessa Williams. So, all right. I'm going to kick it off with the Cowboys.
This one's pretty easy, I feel like.
I'm going to kick it off with the Cowboys, all right? Man.
Yeah.
This Dak shoulder situation. They're talking to the Rangers. They're talking to the listen. Shorty blew his UCL out. Listen? They say it's a shoulder. Correct? Am I wrong, Ryan? I think they've been saying it's a shoulder.
I believe so. Yes.
My first thought is, does Shorty need Tommy John? Right? He got a Ben Roethlisberger. Does he have a Ben Roethlisberger? A baseball injury on a quarterback after having a compound fracture of his ankle. I'm happy he got paid. Especially anybody be like, no, that's not right. Dude, he was sitting there. Was he a third or a fifth round draft pick? Regardless, yeah, he was getting paid measly dollars to start and be the best player on that team damn near outside of when Zeke was hot that first year, basically. All right. Dak been carrying that team, getting paid nothing. All right. He got paid something, but it was
by the way,
nowhere near commensurate with his play on the field. All right, especially taking on the pressure of being the quarterback of America's team. And it's pressure to that.
And after Tony Romo, who was decent at least.
Right. Tony was good. He wasn't my guy, but he was good. He was real good at times. He just couldn't get it done in the playoffs.
It's really easy to see a replacement quarterback suck compared to be good when the mantle is passed over. And Dak definitely took care of that.
Right. But if you're telling me they got to wait another year before you can really unfurl those receivers and that running back, and Zeke looks in shape. I don't know if he's going to fumble the ball all over the place, but he looks in good shape. All right, the abs are poking out, even though they're irregular abs, but they're poking out from a man who has no abs. All right, don't mean to slander him. He's fit. But if Dak is gone for a large chunk of this season, woe is me to say.
It's back to last year for NFC East. It's wide open.
Right. So I'll get back. I'll tell you at the end. We'll both give you our predictions of who we think is going to win the division. Even though I don't even have a prediction right now after what I just said. So you know who I was going with. All right. The Giants. Oh no. What did you have to say about Dallas? I apologize. What did you have to say about Dallas?
The defense. Are they going to be able to stop anybody? I think the Dan Quinn, get them maybe playing a better 4-3 style that fits the personnel, but they got to get that defense going because they're paying a lot of money for that defense. That's really, really bad right now.
Sucks. And you're dependent all on schematic change to fix it. Listen, Dan Quinn can coach up a D. You know what I'm saying? So, and you had Nolan out there who hadn't been coaching since Lord knows, since dinosaurs were patrolling the world.
Just achieve franchise lows in everything for the Dallas.
Yeah. And with the thing is too, and not to say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but the thing is when you're talking about how offenses progress and change just drastically over time in the NFL, not to say you have to kind of be in the game to know what's going on. I think some coaches are just geniuses, and they're easily to reacclimate themselves. But clearly he didn't. And hopefully a 4-3 scheme benefits them because you paid a lot of money, and you got to find out what those linebackers with Lawrence, what you got down there. Right. So definitely, I was going to bring up the D. I'm happy you brought up the D. Was there anything else?
Happy you bring up the D.
Oh, stop. Moving on. The Giants, Saquon Barkley is slowly being brought back. He's off the PUP list. I'm sure he's going to be phenomenal, depending on when he gets going and how many reps they get.
Good old Eddie Jackson.
Right? I thought when it was as soon as it was they lost him in the second game, I was like, Eddie Jackson. Right? I was like, damn. You hate to see your players do that, not injure someone. And it wasn't on purpose. All right? It's a football play. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that happens in football. I blew out my knee. Stuff like that happens. But it's just when you're like, damn, you hate to see your players associated with it, right? That's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, just like I'm sure Giants fans, they may feel like this. But when you think about Joe Theismann and LT, you see LT jumping up.
Right.
Whoa!
Bills, get me back out there.
But with the Giants, man, listen, Daniel Jones, man, you guys may have just got
break, right?
Yeah, because this season should tell you. Physically, Shotty nice. Shotty got some wheels on him to be that tall. He got a nice arm on him. But like, what's going on between here and when Zeke is out? Shuddy has more interceptions than touchdowns. So, and I'm not saying that now having a back like Zeke does not hurt you tremendously, or especially when basically you two were supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get that quarterback and that running back tandem, you're looking at them, growing them, and really using this running back to alleviate pressure from this quarterback until the quarterback can completely acclimate himself to the NFL, right? But he's at the point now, are you just an average to below average quarterback, or is there still enough jewels inside of you for us to pull out of you? You know what I'm saying? Will you reach a large majority of this potential, or are you really a floor guy? And I mean, I would hate to be the GM that went all out. And I mean, listen, it was him at Haskins. It was him at least. Yeah, he did right by not drafting Haskins. And regardless of if Haskins does get it on track, he wasn't going to get it on track in New York because he sure couldn't get it done in DMV. If that kid was in New York, he would have lost his everlasting mind.
Oh my gosh.
In New York. So,
I mean, he wouldn't have focused on football at all at that point.
Period. So it's going to be interesting to see if Danny Dimes is a player or not, because I think that's the real question going into this season when it comes to the Giants. Do we have the quarterback of the future, or are we going to have to get back into, and listen, you got the Bears draft pick next year, are we going to have to get back into looking for quarterbacks, which is messed up because you would like to use that draft capital to fill in other positions because you already thought you had your quarterback of the future.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't know how I feel about the Giants. Like, there's some potential there. I think Joe Judge has done a good job so far, but they're just like at best a 500, like 8-9 type team, maybe 9-8 at the ultimate highest.
The Cowboys have to not even have a quarterback for them.
Yeah, I'm not buying them whatsoever. I mean, Danny Dimes, like you said, he has some really good moments, and then it's usually one step forward, two steps back kind of thing with him every single time. And add the Giants now to the list of teams could have had Justin Fields.
Sorry. All right. So going down to the DMV, the old stomping grounds of said Haynes that we were just talking about. Listen, they got maybe the best D in I'm talking about Washington football team. They have perhaps the best defense in the NFL. If not, I think it's top 3. The question is, what are you going to get out of Ryan Fitzpatrick? Will he be able to just sustain enough offense to keep that defense off the field a little bit? But man, when you look at Chase Young and what they got up front, it's like, dude,
Jonathan Allen. Oh,
dude, it's just too much. That's too much. No.
They're good. Ooh.
Stop. Please stop. Too much. It's a lot. You know, they like that's listen, here in Chicago, we love it. That's type of stuff. I mean, even when your quarterback sucks, it's nothing like seeing the front four just obliterate whole offensive game plan, right? It's like, we know one thing's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna get hurt today. So that defense is going. Listen, I'll come back to this team. I'll come back and put a little button right there. I'll come back to this team. Do you have something you want to say about Washington? I'm sorry, sir.
Just what are they doing at quarterback? Like, why wouldn't they try to sign Andy Dalton? Like, you go Fitzpatrick, and then they have nothing. I get that they drafted that kid.
Who had a better
season?
Who had a better year last year? Andy Dalton or Fitzpatrick?
But I'm saying, why wouldn't you just go after everybody? Like, Kyle Allen's your number 2. I think we've seen enough of Kyle Allen.
It's Ron Rivera having familiarity with Kyle Allen.
Oh boy.
So it's a guy that I know that can run the plays that I like.
Hopefully they got guy with Steven Montez.
Okay, I'm with you, but I mean, I think we would have here in Chicago. I think we would have, and I'd say it would have been right if we got Fitzpatrick over Andy Dalton, and I think it would have been cheaper. I think we would have kind of been a little bit like happy because because he seems like a player that would have ended up in a Bears uniform, a quarterback that bounces all around the league, that's hot at times, and then you give him a contract, and the next year he's bad, and you're like, damn it, I gave him a contract. Like, he seems perfect for the Bears, right? Like a kind of folk hero. Like, Bears love folk heroes like a Fitzmagic. We love stuff like that. Like,
maybe it's just a good thing he's not here, though.
A misfit quarterback. We love that type of stuff like that, right? So
because we don't know what the green pastures are of a franchise quarterback.
Right. So that we love that. So I think going off of what he did in Miami, because I mean, think about it. You snatched. He was winning in Miami, and you snatched him out for Tua, and then had to reinsert him. You know what I'm saying? So he had a better year when we're talking about affecting winning. And of course, we know that there were more. He has a way better defense than you have over there in Dallas. But he didn't have a better offensive players around him than what they have in Dallas. All right. Dallas has they have better skilled players around their quarterback. All right. So I'm between those two quarterbacks, I'm with you. They should have solved the issue at quarterback. But if I had my druthers between the two, and Andy Dalton clearly has a better career, but at this point of their career, I think you can lie to yourself and be like, you can probably get some magic out of Fitzpatrick. An emphasis on lie to yourself.
I'm with you. How about these Eagles then?
I'm tired of spitting on my screen by accident. Dude, they're in. I'm happy they won a Super Bowl because you are in such a rock and a hard place that it's going to be so hard for them. They're not. I don't know if they're committed to Jalen Hurts, right? So I don't either. So they're still looking for a quarterback. They're interested in Deshaun Watson still. I mean, whatever happens as far as it's settled or whatever, they're one of the main teams you keep hearing.
Boy,
being
Deshaun
interested.
Watson's going to go from the Houston Texans with no draft picks over to Philly after they have no more draft picks.
So, I mean, but think about it. You're not going to get what the haul for Deshaun that you want with how murky the situation. Like I don't care what they say they're going to get. You ain't getting 5 picks. You're not getting 4 picks. You'd be lucky if you get. And I'm talking about first rounders. You'd be lucky if you get 3. And I mean lucky with the PR cleanup that if you can clean it up. I mean, that's just like fans just have to put their head in the sand like Pittsburgh's fans did with the allegations that took place with Ben Roethlisberger. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you're gonna have to do.
Pittsburgh's used to it. I'm sorry.
It's Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania, right? It's Pennsylvania, right? So I mean, that's what you're gonna do. If he ends up wherever he ends up, if you're gonna have to sit there, and there's a situation that happened with the Eagles and Mike Vick, where there were fans that was like, you know what, I can't support this team because of what he did to those dogs. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we're talking about human beings, even though some people, when it comes to humans and dogs, but still, I mean, I know I didn't want him in my team because even regardless if this young man is innocent, it's alleged, but that's a lot of allegations. It's too many allegations, to be honest with you, if we're being honest. I wouldn't want to sit there and have that type of dichotomy with cheering and not cheering, and it's hard enough to sit there and root for someone you don't want to root for. You know what I'm saying? And I mean truly not want to root. Not you don't want to root for him because he played for a different team. You didn't like the college. Maybe you don't like the aesthetics of how they play, but they win. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's different from someone who's done bad things to human beings, allegedly. And rooting for that person. And I mean, it's not like one mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like what was, and this is, I'm not trying to belittle this, but kind of like Dante Stallworth with the situation in Miami where it was manslaughter when he drove over that man, he killed that man. You didn't really hear about Dante Stallworth compared to like Little with St. Louis, where he was intoxicated and killed that woman, and then he was found drinking and driving again. That's when you had a second chance, and this is how dangerous it is when you did it again. You never heard of Dante Stallworth, and I don't even think Dante Stallworth was under the influence when he killed. I
don't believe so.
I don't think he was under the influence. So him that's something tragic, but him getting another chance, you're like, okay. Even though it was an accident of the highest scale because someone lost their life, but it was one time, right? But when there's the same story, same crime, that you can't turn a blind eye to that. You know what I'm saying? So Eagles, you like stuff like that clearly. So do the damn thing. But getting back to the point, the defense is getting old.
I was going to say, folks, that's our review of the Eagles, a potential hypothetical of Deshaun Watson.
No, the defense is getting older. You don't know how well this rookie coach is going to perform, so you're still trying to see if Jalen Hurts can be a efficient quarterback in the pros. I hope he is. But they have the most questions in the sorriest division. Yes. And they brought this upon themselves, which is the wildest part. When you drafted him knowing that you could probably cause an issue with your starter, which There was an issue with your starter. Yeah. And then you have to trade him, and you have one of the hugest cap hits ever in the NFL with dead cap money for trading Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts. But shout out to the Eagles, because you definitely dodged that foot injury that he had, because it was going to come out. If that's an injury from high school, it was going to pop out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure the last thing Eagles fans want is Carson Wentz out for a significant amount of time again. You know what I'm saying? So
now they're pissed because now they can't get the high draft pick that they were hoping to get.
Good point, because of the amount of playing time that he's going to get. I didn't think about that. That's a really good point that you just came up with. But what's your Eagles' thoughts?
The same. I mean, there might be more talent there if they have that offensive line rolling again like they've had it in years past with that defensive front that they potentially have with Cox at defensive tackle, and they find a way to start pressuring quarterbacks, and they can, run the football and protect Jalen Hurts. I mean, they could be, again, like this division, I think in general can be solid if the Cowboys are a good team, but I don't have high hopes at all for whatsoever.
I don't think this division can be solid, and that's if one team runs away with it and hides. I still don't think it's a solid division. This is the weakest division in football, I believe. I'm trying to think. It's the weakest division in football because
probably between them and the AFC South, I would think.
But to see the AFC South still has the Titans in it.
Yeah, that's a decent division at
least. So what? The AFC South, you have the Jags, the Titans,
Texans, and Colts.
The Colts, though, the thing with the Colts, they have the car that's ready to go. They still have the driver. So if they get someone who's steady, if Jacob Eason can be steady in his second year there, all right, and cause another quarterback issue with Carson Wentz. Jacob Eason come and play.
Trade for Nick Foles, damn it.
Oh no, you're not gonna bring in Carson Wentz to do that to him again, because then you really screwed up, right? Then it's like, damn it,
whatever.
Carson's gonna do the same thing to you again, and you're banking on Carson Wentz, where you
at least Chris Ballard, you threw the scotch against the wall when you hurt this freaking foot injury.
For sure. Also, who did that? Who did that? Physical, right?
Right.
Who checked him out?
I'll tell you who did it. Somebody that's no longer on the Colts staff.
Get your shit, and get out. But yeah, I'll say this. So initially, I had the Cowboys winning this division. All right, but that's with the healthy Dak. If Dak is healthy, Cowboys win this division. The period. I don't care what you say. I don't care how good the defense is in Washington. But if Dak is hurt significantly, I think it's not even a question. It's going to be Washington.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. If Dak is not playing week 1 and it's revealed he's going to be out for some time, I would definitely go Washington as my division winner, since supposedly the shoulder will get better in time. We'll see.
Now, when you're throwing, using it, if this was his left shoulder, cool. His non-throwing shoulder, we can make it work.
Right.
He's gonna be wearing that bad boy, dog. Especially how they like to throw that rock around. You remember how many throws attempts he had before he blew out the injury to his ankle? Shai was throwing like 50 times a game. So let's say they brought him back to 30. That's still too much if you got a shoulder. Oh my goodness, dude! Jerry Jones did something. Listen, this is what happens. This is what happens when you mess around and you treat Jimmy Johnson. You know what? My off-top should have been Jimmy Johnson. I don't know what the hell Jerry Jones is doing and why he hates Jimmy Johnson so much, regardless if there was some type of rivalry from y'all being teammates all the way until him working for you, but him building your only dynasty. And it's one thing that it's your toy and you taking it, but you can still respect what he did for you. It's senseless that he wasn't in the Cowboys rank of fame. He is the Cowboys,
the modern Cowboys, since Tom Landry.
I was going to say, after Tom Landry, he's the second most important person to the Cowboys. Now, people could argue maybe you could put Jerry in there, but Jerry's not nothing without Jimmy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So he's the second most important person to the legacy of the Cowboys, and you did him he had to wait until he got into and he should have been in the Hall of Fame earlier. He had to wait until he got into the Hall of Fame for you to sit there and put him in a regular honor, shame on you, man. You should be a better person than that. Especially
we all know he's not.
Well, he should be. I mean, listen, even if you're not a better person, just to look like you're a better person, you shouldn't do stuff like that, man. Like, that's ridiculous. So, fuck Jerry Jones.
I'm with you.
All right, moving on to the AFC East preview. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with those Jets. Let's get them out of the way.
That makes sense. I like Saleh. I like the head coach.
I just wanted to, my take, the ship's sinking when it comes to the quarterback.
Listen, I like their coach. I don't know why, but I do. All right. I think he thought he did a terrific job in San Francisco as their me too. But that's the point. He was a defensive coordinator. Now we have to see how he is as a head coach and a CEO. So I thought it was a nice hire for them. I don't know if they screwed the pooch on taking Zach Wilson or not. Zach Wilson, I know, right? And listen, we could be wrong. Yeah, but Zach Wilson could be the bust in this quarterback draft. All right. And I think we all smoked a little bit of that Zach Wilson weed at one point. Some of us did. Let me not say we all did. I know talking to what's his name? Chris Sims.
Chris Sims. That was his number one.
Chris Sims. Hey, Chris, I don't know if this is one of your ones you gonna hit on, bro.
Thank you for pushing Justin Fields down the draft.
That's what he was doing. He was trying to help us. He was good looking out, Chris Sims. Listen, Shorty don't look good. And Shorty stepping up to the real. We forget that weak ass competition he was playing against BYU. I mean,
and he gets hurt a lot,
dude. And now you're playing in the AFC East. All right, which you're going to have to deal with Bill Belichick and what he's doing defensively. You're going to have to deal with what Buffalo's doing. And also you're going to have to deal with what Miami's doing. Like, all these teams really have
Flores.
They have good defenses, those other three teams. And
you've got the New York market up your ass every time you don't do it.
Great point. Like, I don't know about this one. Like, I think it's set up for let me put it like this. He's immensely talented. All right. Slim frame, so there is a chance that he can get hurt, but he has other level arm talent. All right, he's shifty, has other level arm talent. I don't know, and you emphasized it being in the New York market. I don't know if that was the guy to put in that situation, and I think part of his
for BYU,
right? I think part of the thing is he going to be put in a situation to succeed? And I don't know if that team is constructed to help him succeed, but I definitely know that market isn't. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't been in a situation like that at BYU where you're talking about the heat that you were taking. You know, because I can even say this. I think Daniel Jones is better prepared. And of course, you can say, well, Ken, he was down there playing at, is he Duke or USC? I mean, UNC. Duke, right? But he was playing with Cutcliffe. And we know just from that's basically you were playing with the Manning's personal trainer, So I would think that he's been around them and he kind of knows the ways. He's probably talked to Eli. We know he was under Eli. Eli was probably Eli was in on the decision to pick him up because he was one of the guys that was at their camps. You know what I'm saying? They let him have that year to kind of get used to it or whatever and to be his mentor or whatever. So I think he's and I also think his personality. You know what I'm saying? Jones kind of has that laid back, kind of has that Mac Jones-ish personality vibes or whatever. It seems like nothing is too much for him, even though it looks on the field like there are things that are too much for him. Right. But still, it doesn't seem like he gets as rattled as much unless the mono is flowing. But yeah, when it comes to the Jets, man, listen, I feel sorry for Greeny over at ESPN, man, Mike Greenberg, because it's like y'all just keep doing. It's funny, but it's sad because I mean, my team has been better than theirs over the last 30 years, but it hasn't been just insurmountably better. You know what I'm saying? Right. But it hasn't been that type of bad. It hasn't been that type of bad, right? No. Like it's like that's some bad stuff y'all got going on.
Bad business,
and it just keeps getting worse. So yeah. But the Jets, man, it's going to be. Listen, it'd be funny if they teach us a lesson and they snap, but I doubt it.
I think Dolphins next.
Listen, the Dolphins are great at a lot of positions. I'm happy that they solved the contract situation with Xavier Howard. Because that looked like Shuddy was like, I'm taking these interceptions and I'm leaving. Happy they got it out the way. So that was one of the risks or worries I should say they should have. The problem is Tua Tagovailoa. I don't trust him yet. You know what I'm saying? And not me being a fan of Alabama football. And even though, like I said, Alabama football, I liked him, but I didn't love him. You know what I'm saying? I liked him in that. I loved him in that national championship game when he came in for Jalen Hurts. But watching him the following season was kind of like, especially when he's playing against top-ranked defenses. You know what I'm saying? It was like, wait, because you got to remember, even though Georgia and Kirby said that they knew that they would probably do that, it still isn't the same as having real tape on him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, because Tua, I don't see the arm talent, and there's hesitancy. It seemed like there's a lack of confidence. And you know what, to be honest, after suffering the injury that he suffered, if that's part of it, I could kind of understand. Because I remember watching that. We
were in D's basement.
No, we had just done a flip, I believe. We were
in D's basement doing the recording of a flip.
We were, because I thought I was at the crib when I text, man, Tua.
No, it was sad. No, I think you texted after you got the injury update of what was going on, but we watched the injury together in D's basement.
Okay, and it looked similar to how the Bo Jackson injury looked running up the sideline when pulling that leg down, and it seems like you can see it coming out of socket.
And he's got the nosebleed going on at the exact same time.
Right. From the mask breaking into this, it was bad business, to say the least. And having experienced something like that, I can understand if there's some hesitancy. But I mean, you got to get on the ball, kiddo, because this is going to be the year where they decide if they're going to keep you or not. Because that's a team that's ready to win now.
And they got the assets to move up wherever they need to go.
So you can sit there and you can get whoever's going to be the hot quarterback coming out, even though this isn't necessarily a quarterback draft, but they'll lie to us about a time of the draft and tell us there's 3 good quarterbacks in this bad boy anyway. Yeah. So, but you may be on the move if you don't figure it out. I mean, I get last year there was no preseason, so he didn't have the time to get some of the yips out, perhaps. So maybe this preseason we'll find out with this game against the Bears, even though he's only going to be out there a couple series, so we're not going to find out a lot. But still, the thing that Miami is Tua. And it was a smart draft pick because he fell to you, and he was a guy that teams thought you were taking to win, and you guys decided, forget it, we're gonna go for team chemistry, and we're gonna start winning some games. And he ended up falling to you. But man, if only he was healthy, and Justin Herbert would have fell to you. Sorry. I mean, just think, if he was healthy, Justin Herbert would have fell to them. I mean, it's not even a question. It would have been Tua, Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert would have been right there, ready for you to go. And listen, just like he looks nice out there in Cali, he would look nice down here in Miami.
Oh man, maybe looks nicer, honestly.
Right. So I mean, that it's Tua.
That Miami team, they're ready to go if they got the driver. Who were we talking about? What? Who had everything except the driver? That's exactly the same thing with Miami.
Yeah, you have to, dog. You got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're talking about Miami when I said that they had everything except the driver. Because I think. Because I was talking about Tua coming up here to play the Bears, and I was teasing it. See, that was a tease, Ryan.
I made sure to point out that they could have drafted Justin Fields, right?
Yes, you did. Okay, this is like the third team that you've said that so far. You went to Giants, the Eagles, and Miami.
Yeah, just making sure. I guess you could throw the Cowboys there too.
Definitely. That really hurts. That really, because listen, I'll be honest with you. If I was the Cowboys, I wouldn't have signed that. I would have. I'd be like, I love you. That PR hit. I'd be like, did you see what happened to him? You saw that, right? You saw it. Did you see it? Yeah, I think it was God telling us it's time to let it go. Right? I would have went straight for rookie quarterback on the deal since I'm paying everybody else all this money. It's just I wouldn't have signed Dak. Just me personally. Listen, it would have been terrible. Dak would have had the right to just talk disrespectfully about me wherever he was going to end up. But for my team and my situation, knowing that he was going to get paid that much money, his ankle was obliterated. All right, I don't care what you say; it was obliterated. And I
can see you storming Jerry Jones's office. Jerry, we ain't paying. We ain't paying.
And then, listen, we can lie about it. there's still a little hitch in his giddy up. All right, that's not the same running
thing
staff.
Was shattered,
dude. It was terrible. Dude, now I know this when I was at home. I'm watching that game and I'm like, go down. And I'm not thinking he's gonna get hurt like that. He had just broken a tackle, at least 2 tackles, and evaded one guy. Right? I'm like, all right, damn, that's enough yards. Go down. And when you saw that happen, you was like, oh shit, because you saw so you knew, right? But you didn't know the bone was sticking out like that. And the first thing I thought was the money. Listen, I'm happy. Let me say this. I'm so happy he got paid. All right. I'm always pro player for the most part, unless it's my team. I'm joking. I'm always pro players. I want them to get their money because it's so fleeting. The NFL is so fleeting. All right. So I was happy he got paid. I'm just saying in that situation, I don't think I would have done it. And you know what? That could be healthy and I could be wrong, but I would have been good with that.
Future Washington football team quarterback, Dak Prescott.
Hey, has it written all over it. But I would have been so fine with that because just to avoid it, and I hate to say it, I would have gotten over with all those years that I had him playing way below his contract level, or his contract value, I should say. It would have been like, hey, I hate to say it, but I said this on something the other day. Branch Rickey, get out a year before instead of a year later.
Yeah. Who's next on the list for you?
I guess let's go with the strongest team on paper so far, and that's Buffalo. All right. Buffalo. Josh Allen just got paid.
Making you look right.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Making you look right.
Shout out to all those Baker Mayfield people that was, I'm going Baker. And I'm like, I like Josh Allen. He's not accurate. I don't know. I like that big boy with that cannon on his arm. I know what I like.
Racism at heart.
And he racist too? Yeah, I didn't like that part. He's not my quarterback of my team, but I'm just telling you. But this was before we knew he had the racist past.
Yes.
All right. So, I mean, this was prior to that. But yeah, he was my pick in that draft. And I stuck with it. And you look back, listen, Baker Mayfield's not getting paid that type of money. I'm gonna tell you that right now. He's not getting paid over $200 million. No one's that silly anymore to think that's the quarterback. Josh Allen's getting paid to carry a team. Baker Mayfield's going to get paid not to mess it up. Right?
Right. Speaking of driver, right? He just got to drive that thing.
Just don't crash it. All right.
Yeah.
Try to keep doing this. Like, dude, just 10 and 2, just straight, right? Listen, great defense. I'm looking forward to seeing what a healthy Singletary is going to do in the backfield. Stephon Diggs, showed a whole nother level last year. He would have made the Vikings look bad if Jefferson didn't snap the way that he did as a rookie coming out of LSU. They actually made the Vikings look good because you got off of that contract and that sideline issues with Diggs and acting up at times. So it was a win-win for both organizations basically, because it showed Diggs in a whole different way from just necessarily being a speed guy. I like everything they're doing.
Emmanuel Sanders they picked up. Great complimentary piece with Cole anti-vax Beasley.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how he acts this year. I love everything they got going up there in Buffalo, to be honest with you. I love the synergy between the community and the team. I like the synergy between the Buffalo's Mafias.
I don't like
donating to charities.
Did you see the owner with what he proposed for the stadium that he wanted 100% tax paid for?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You want to keep Buffalo. You got to pay Buffalo.
It's always the threat of, we'll go across to Canada on that ass, right?
Right.
Canada, right?
Or go to New York. We can do 3 teams in New York. 2 of them play in New Jersey.
No, you can't. But yeah, I mean, they already have, but you mean New York City rather than New York State.
Yes.
But no, I mean, listen, this division is theirs to win, but I think it's going to be hard. Now, I'll let you talk about Buffalo before we start getting into reasons why we think this division may be hard. And we've already talked about Miami, and Miami's going to be hard regardless of how Tua plays. They may have to play despite Tua, but they're going to be good. They have a great coach, a great general manager. The team is nice. If Tua can be good, this division is going to be crazy if Tua's good. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah.
If Tua's good, this division is going to be you haven't seen
Jets
this division.
might not win a game.
You can always back into one. They did it last year, remember?
Well, at least not in the division.
Okay, true. But you know those teams better, though. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. You're right. They shouldn't, but you know those teams better. You know what I'm saying? But what do you have to say about the Bills before we jump into the Pats?
I like the Bills a lot. The only question marks I have, just everything worked perfectly for them for the most part, injury-wise, and just how everything was, running. Can they repeat it, especially on offense? And then I think defensively, they're a really solid group, but they're not a great group. Can they take another level? Because we saw them against Kansas City in that AFC game. Like without a big boost extra from the offense or boost from the defense, kind of complementing even more the offense, I don't think that they're going to be able to get past the Chiefs again.
I don't think they're getting past the Chiefs, and they're paying Josh Allen to be the reason they get past the Chiefs. I don't know if he's that good. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I think it's got to be the defense.
He's fringe. He's fringe. I'm with you. He's fringe, but I don't know if he's that type of good because he still has in the playoffs though a little yips. A little. Yeah. He got compared to the year before where he was spinning around and. Or right?
Let me run 40 yards this way.
Oh man, listen, it looks. I know it's supposed to be going this way, but have you seen back here?
There's a lot of green, and there's no one there.
It's beautiful back there, man. I'm thinking I'm gonna go check it out during the game.
I can just throw it 80 yards.
Oh yeah, look, you see this cannon? You see this cannon? Do you see this cannon? Do you see this cannon? But listen, I want to get to the Pats because we gotta hasten this pace up. This show is going long, man. People ain't got all this damn time. Listen. And I think we both said this. Matter of fact, I'm going to let you say it. Go ahead and say what you have to say about the Pats. I'll follow you.
I really like the Pats. They're my division winner. I really, Bill Belichick spending all this money, building the team that he wants. They got Mac Jones in the first round to give them a little more insurance at the quarterback spot that they didn't have a year ago when it was really Cam or nothing. Like, Brian Hoyer, get out of here. Like, you're not going to do nothing. And even still, they didn't have a horrible season, especially with how many people opted out that they had. And Bill, he's a master at getting his teams ready and prepared, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. I really like the Patriots a lot, and I think Mac Jones, he'll take over at some point. They'll move on from Cam, and we know Bill is not going to have any problem switching over. And if he's ready, I think that they're going to be the perfect style for Mac Jones. It's going to be emphasis run and defense, play action passing. And if he can execute, I think that they can be a good team, but they don't have a ton when it comes to receiver, and especially now they lost Hunter Henry for a while with an injury when they were trying to bring back the double tight end look. But I still think with the offensive line improvements and everything that Bill's going to do defensively, they're going to be a really good team in my estimation.
So they brought in Jonnu Smith for tight ends, Matthew Judon, who I liked as an outside rusher for the Ravens, Devon Gajo, defensive tackle, Jalen Mills, defensive back from the Eagles. You mentioned Hunter Henry, who played with the Chargers, who's out right now. Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver, Nelson Aguilar, who we've seen bounce around after being drafted by the Eagles. And they also returned linebacker Devontae Hightower. I want to say the exact same thing that you said. One, let's give some props to Tom Brady. There's no Tom Brady over there. And that even regardless of how great you think Bill Belichick is, Tom Brady's winning right now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was more Belichick than Brady. Not disrespecting Brady as being the GOAT. But still, I thought you had that guy. You look at the guy that you got with you. But at one point, he exceeded what that guy that he got with him, I believe, with Brady. The student became the master, perhaps. I'll say this. I think Bill is dedicated to Cam, right? And the system that they wanted to run, I think it may have been geared towards Cam, but I think just even with the offensive acumen of Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, that they're situational. They're just not situational game by game. They're situational within the game. That's the thing about playing that team. Like, they totally change up everything from week to week. You know what I'm saying? Depending on who they're actually playing, right? So regardless of when you look at, like you mentioned, going back to the two tight end situations they had when they had Gronk and they had Hernandez, that you would think about Cam's success with Greg Olsen, you know what I'm saying? And how it benefits Cam and it simplifies things to have, that H-back perhaps and a guy that's going to be up there running up the seams and stuff like that. But I think Mac Jones is better situated to do what they're used to doing. All right. But we're asking a lot for him to be able to take in all the stuff that comes with that type of offense there. So I do think they'll be good, but I'm talking myself out of picking them to win this division. I'm going to go back to Buffalo. I was going to pick them to win this division, but I think the quarterback situation being unclear because, listen, I can be wrong. Tom Brady got in there and got hot and took off. All right, but Brady's an outlier. But rookies getting in and taking off. Brady wasn't a rookie, but Brady, it was his first time starting in the NFL. So you're asking a lot, So that's kind of still where I don't know how the quarterback situation is going to shake out. You know what? See me after, and this isn't enough time to know, but I'll just feel better. The second preseason game with them.
And another thing, too, just a little caveat thing. Bill is tremendous against 24 and under quarterbacks, and that's basically the division.
True. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a great point. But you know what? Enough football chatter. Let's go off top. Ryan, what you got? Ryan B. Ski, what you got for me?
How about we start with a little White Sox? I'm going to go baseball heavy now for grabs. Are the White Sox the most complete team in the American League? Because I'm starting to think so, especially now with Lou Bob and Eloy back in action.
I mean, you look at it. One of the teams that that's kind of owned them this year. The Astros don't have Joey Gallo anymore, right? So if you're talking about them losing some of the strengths that they've had, that's really the only team. I know the A's are playing well, and the A's.
Well, the Rangers had Joey Gallo.
Really? Yeah, you're right. Thank you for correcting me on that. I don't know if they're better than the Astros then after I made that mistake. All right. Like
I feel like with the trades and the upgrade, they might be.
The only thing is this, that the Astros have been there before.
That's true.
And they're doing it with the league hating them.
Tony, baby.
Listen, but they're doing it with the league hating them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're stepping into places. Every place is coming at them. You know what I'm saying? And they're still doing it. So I don't know. They on paper, perhaps, but I don't know if I can say. I think it's going to take the playoffs before I can say the Sox are better than the Astros, man. I really do. I mean, it's just being honest. I want to say yes. When you say the trades, Cesar Hernandez, but I mean, he was facing a Cubs team that had third string. I mean, minor leaguers out there. Excuse me. And he had a familiarity with some of those pitchers playing for the Phillies. So that it looks good. I mean, Craig Kimbrell, Lordy have mercy, him coming over. Yeah, on paper, definitely. On paper, yes. Functionality and clutch moments, we don't know yet. Situational hitting, we don't know yet.
But in terms of like starting pitching, has got to be White Sox, right? Like, I don't think anyone in the American League has quite the rotation that the Sox have. I mean, you could argue, well, Carlos Rodon hasn't, or I'm sorry, Lucas Giolito has been a little up and down this year, but just when everyone's on, I think that they're probably.
I got to see some of them AL East pitching staffs. I got to see the AL East.
True, like Boston, especially if they get Chris Sale going.
I thought about Boston. Chris Sale's perhaps coming back to Rays.
I think though they lost Tyler Glass now for.
You're right. They did.
Year,
they did. So I'll put that. You're right. You're right with that one.
I'll put them down a little. And hitting wise, I think that their lineup is as comparable as, and now there's a lot more diverse hitting lineups in.
Okay, yeah, but if you're talking about offense, defense, and pitching, yes. But if you're talking about just hitting, the Yankees, what they just did, bringing in Gallo,
Blue Jays,
and Rizzo, yeah, exactly. They got some
Astros. Now we're talking,
and they've been healthy, and the Sox have it going on. What you said now with you see what Eloy did, just goodness gracious, right? I got to go watch the game after we get through doing.
I mean, that's a massive trade, basically.
I know I said it on here that it's like you made two huge trades, but you didn't have to give up anything, just bringing 2/3 of your outfields back in there, and then look at what the players that were played in their stead have. I mean, Engel is where he was last year when we thought perhaps it was a fluke that he learned that he was hitting. Right, we already knew defensively he's good in the speed, particularly speed on bases. But when you see that the hitting wasn't just a fluke, I'm never saying he's going to be like the man with a bat, but you don't feel bad about him being out there. You know what I'm saying? Before it was like, all right, just have him out there against the righties or whatever. You don't really feel bad. What Brian Goodwin is doing, what you have, and just even if you just use him to be a guy on base or supplement in the outfield with what old Billy Hamilton is doing. On top of that, what the mess that Andrew Vaughn has been doing is crazy. All right, being someone who was looked at as being a first baseman in DH. And basically, even though I knew in Schaumburg they had him in the outfield, but basically got thrown in the outfield because of these injuries, playing both sides. And he is our poor man's Chris Bryant right now when it comes to being able to move him around. I mean, he can't play third, but I bet you he could if you gave him a chance. But I mean, he's not Chris Bryant. But when you find out that you have a player that has that type of versatility that you did not expect that. This was a kid who hit 400 in college. You knew that his bat acumen was high, and you know what, right? You knew that he'd probably be straight at first. You did not think that you had a corner outfielder out here that now he doesn't have to either be a first baseman or a DH. You could stuff him in the outfield depending on the matchups. So, like, man, those injuries in some ways helped this team. And I wouldn't feel that way probably if they didn't have such a lead in this terrible division. But those wins have helped this team. So on paper, yes, they have to prove it.
But I love that, like, Lou Bob comes in. You got Engel, you throw him in right, you put Vaughn in left. Defensively, you're solid to really good out in the outfield, and then you throw Eloy, hopefully a DH, and that lineup's boost. It's just like the perfect two pieces on top of it, what you really need to solve some major issues. And then if Lou Bob gets hot at the plate, I mean, forget about it.
He will get hot. He will get hot. He may get hot at the right time. He may get hot. He may get hot at the right time.
If he's hot at the right time, then look out.
He gets hot in the playoffs, it's going to be crazy. It's because Eloy already is hot. All right, like,
and he's just such a good hitter already that I don't think he's going to fall off.
Don't let TA and Jose Abreu, because I don't know what's going on with Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo is playing like 2018 Yo-Yo. So I ain't dependent on him when it comes to being when it comes to hitting. I'm not dependent on him. Or being in the batter's box. I'm not dependent on Yo-Yo.
He could just be that Sammy Sosa of the 03 playoff run for the Cubs.
I guess, but I'm not dependent on Yo-Yo for nothing as of right now. What else you got for me?
Last, talking about the Cubs. Hoaxire, you see the next round of Cubs prospects, and should the team call up the guys that they have for experience already?
Depends on if they're ready. You know, like you don't need to rush someone like what's the kid from
Brendan Davis?
Well, no, what's the shortstop from
Ed Howard.
Yeah, Ed Howard. Like, you don't need to rush Ed Howard up here. You know, so especially if he's about 2 years away. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, if you want him to get a taste, I get that. You know what I'm saying? But if it depends on if it's beneficial. I mean, people say, well, just getting that experience is beneficial. But if you're skipping a level, like you know, like you're still in 1A.
Brendan Davis would have to. He's in AA if they brought him up.
Well, some people say, you know, AA and AAA maybe perhaps it's not as bad, you know, so compared to if you was bringing him straight from 1A, it'd be like, golly. I think it's situational. It depends on where that player is right now. It depends on will playing against high level pitchers trying to submit where their team is either in the playoffs, will that benefit them at this point, or could it shock them? And I guess I shouldn't say that because they're only going to be up here for a short amount of time, so they should be able to get they should be able to get over it. But if you already have a trajectory of when you expect these players to come up to the pros, and I guess I'm saying this, if they're so far away from coming to the pros, maybe not. It depends on what you think about that player's mental makeup. If you think that player's mental makeup is he's a competitor and nothing's going to throw him off in the long run, sure, go ahead. But let's say somebody like on the Sox staff like Lucas Giolito. I don't think I would have done that to Lucas Giolito. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm the Nationals and we're out of it and I got Lucas Giolito and I don't know if they knew about his mental makeup or the lack thereof at the time. But I think that could be a problem for Lucas Giolito. Players like that where mentally, you know, they may not at least at that point be as strong.
I'm with you. I'm excited to see whoever that they feel is ready to kind of come up at this point, because I wouldn't rush anything. You don't really have to worry about the Chris Bryant situation with the rules of start time too early, because with the next CBA, most likely there's going to be some kind of change to that rule in the first place. And that's coming up pretty soon anyways for baseball, which, you know, if they get some guys that can come up and get some excitement going, I think that would be great. But I just think that the kids for the primarily are a year away, and they're going to have to get some veteran free agents in here next year to really make this team competitive.
They're going to get veteran free agents just to flip at the trade deadline anyway for more prospects.
I mean, they better. Yeah,
that's what you do now. So they're going to get.
I just, with the Ricketts, sometimes they cry poor with the money.
I agree. It's not going to be a situation where you're going to spend for like a Garrett Cole if he's out there.
Yeah,
but you're going to get like a ton
you
of
want
Jock
a field
Petersons.
of team. Yeah, you want a team of really
you're gonna
solid.
Be full of Jock Petersons. A team full of Jock.
Find a Jose Abreu and build that bridge to Cuba.
No, that bridge runs to this side of Chicago, not the other.
I didn't know it went straight from Cuba to Chicago. Usually, the stop is Miami.
No. This is straight like cocaine cowboys, man. It's coming to the Midwest, and then we disperse from out of here on the South side. All right, that's how it goes down. All right,
I think you just do it to Chicago, same place. We just use the bridge.
No,
extra exit.
No. You guys could have done
exit
it.
You didn't. North.
You didn't.
We chose the Dominican. We chose the Dominican.
That's what. Stick with it. Stick with what you came to the dance with. All right, we always appreciate it. Make sure you go back and check out this last week of the flip. It was pretty fun, even though we kind of opened up we dragged a little bit when we opened, but when we get into it, it was definitely entertaining. So make sure you go and check that out. Also check out Under Center Podcast. That'll be dropping Thursday, and definitely check out the one that dropped Monday. And anything on We Are Rico Radio. We always appreciate it, and please don't do anything stupid before you hear from us again. And